We go live at 7 accidentally. Does it go live again? Oh, oh no. Did I do it wrong? Oh, are you there? I'm not quite sure what I just clicked. I was not quite ready. Good to see. I see somebody there. Please say hello to me so I know that I can. It says I'm live. It should be going. I thought I ended it accidentally, but it seems that I'm still here. Are you there? So today, oh gosh, I logged in a little early. So it's, oh, I don't know if you can see me. It says I'm live. So we'll go ahead and start. So today is my 1 year anniversary. Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm still here. It says I'm live. Um, oh, I hope I didn't mess it up. So today's my 1 year anniversary with YouTube, and I'll talk for a little bit, see if you guys pop in. It's 10 minutes early. So there we go. Okay, cool. So I am live. 1 year anniversary with YouTube. I just did my first podcast. That was really exciting, and I'll have that uploaded in the future so we can kind of talk. You can see my discussion on narcissism. So, love and hate. We started having a really good conversation on that. Like I said, I'm about 9 minutes early, so people hopefully will join in before then. But do they love us or do they hate us? And they love in a different kind of capacity. So when we are with them, we're loving in a different way, a way that's uncomfortable for them. So it's hard to see it coming because they put up this facade to latch on to us. And then they just want their vision of what true love should be. And they've never really felt it. And once they feel it, they start to feel that they're unworthy and they start picking apart us so we can match them. We thought we were a match. We're not a match. And we just want to get back to what it used to be. But now, any little flaw uh, starts growing, and we start handling the situation in a way that's not healthy for them. Uh, it is a healthy way of having a relationship, but it makes them uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, it's not really a healthy relationship. They don't want to change. And they need that dopamine hit. So, in order to get that, they need chaos. Their vision of love is to be built up to be over the top. And when we see certain things that are wrong, we like to address it. And then they see it as that we're kind of calling them a failure. Others have been through such abuse that since they don't feel worthy of love when they get it, it's awkward to them. So they need to get rid of that awkwardness. They need to lash out or tear things apart or bring us back down to them and underneath them so they can feel some control because they need control in their life because when they were growing up, they didn't have it. And their emotional capacity is really hard to understand because of that lack of empathy. When we try to discuss things or tell them our needs, they feel that we're too needy because they don't get it. And we try to explain it and it doesn't compute with them. So we think we're giving logical reasons, but they see it in a totally different light. Um, it's the connection. So the love they feel they're doing things the right way. During my podcast, they had asked about this, and it's just a different kind of connection. So I see you popping in. Please let me know if you can see me. I accidentally hit something, so I think I'm still live. So if you can just chat a little hello or tell me if you'd like anything specific to talk about. I can't see who logs in, but I just want verification. But yeah, we're talking in the podcast about do they love us? Do they hate us? They love to hate us. Um, they love that we're there. and they're not indifferent to us until the discard stage. So you start feeling the devaluation, and that's bringing it back to their comfort zone. And that's our zone. Oh, awesome. Good job. Hi, Wheeler Nathan. Today's my 1 year anniversary with YouTube. I also just did my first podcast, which I'll upload as soon as I get access to it. But how was your day? What are some things you want to talk about? We're talking about the love, hate, any other topics that you guys want to talk about. Um, but since they love in a different way, it it, it kind of has things all askew. Well, thank you very much for the congratulations. I didn't realize till this afternoon that it was my 1 year anniversary, and my mom's doing better. She's just getting released to a regular room out of ICU, so it was kind of a stressful weekend for me. And I'm glad you had a good day today. But what was your situation? Do you feel that they truly loved you? Because in the end, it's like they don't really miss the person. They don't really have remorse. How often did your person really say, these are some issues we need to work on? I see somebody else is joining in. Feel free to say hello if you'd like, or just watch, or let me know some things that you kind of have questions on. Because there's John Moran. Hi, how are you? And thank you so much for joining. Today's my 1 year anniversary with YouTube. And in the podcast, we kind of got into a deep discussion on it because it felt like love in the beginning. You know, they were there for us. And as time goes by, we start wondering what exactly is going on, you know? And we try to get back to, to, to the happy spot. Um, but we do it in a way that they're not comfortable with. We tend to explain things. They don't want explanations because when they were children, they were just told what to do. So it's like an overload for them. They also don't connect with it. So the more we talk about it, the less connected they feel, which makes them feel like we're talking down to them. And our intentions can be good. We also talked about why they do silly little things. Also, can it be healthy? Can we continue on with this? And I gave the example of my ex had um, gone, you know, he was a hunter and he didn't get a deer that year. And the other state cops were kind of razzing him on it. And so they were calling, they're like, yeah, there's a roadkill, fresh deer. And one time he came home and he was covered in blood. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I got in a bar fight and I'm freaking out. I want to make sure there's no infectious disease spread through that blood. So I'm trying to clean him up. And then he's like, no, I just hit a deer. You want to come see it? Or I just got a deer off the road. And he put me through kind of freak out mode. Like I was scared, like he was in this bar fight. And also the blood, it must have been a pretty big fight. And it zaps your brain. Also, you know, this is just me, you know, being afraid of contagious diseases through blood. And so it was zapping my brain. So she had asked, you know, can it work out? Well, you got to remember, every time you go through those zaps that are unnecessary, it gets you into that fight or flight mode. And the more you get that, it can be damaging. Also, you know, over time, you start wondering, are they telling the truth? And you don't think that girl I was with had any feelings for you at all. And, you know, with her, I still think, yeah, I don't know. Some of the things you said, she could have been a sociopath too, you know. When she was under stress, John, can you tell us exactly how she handled it? Did she kind of disassociate from it, or does she ever get angry, violent? Uh, Let us know a little bit more, because the way people handle things sometimes too can give you some insight on how they feel. But there's so many different mental illnesses where people are so similar that it's hard. Also with comorbidities. Yeah, mine dissociated a lot too. Removed themselves, did the silent treatment. And that can be really hurtful to somebody who grew up in a family where you discuss things, you apologize, you work it out, and they just shut down, and it's not productive. It doesn't take care of the situation. It just lets it stew and grow. Um, and since John said, I want to see Dixie sleeping over there. But we have to love ourselves because, like I said, the zaps on our brain, the heightened emotions that we feel, it keeps us on edge. We start walking on eggshells around them, and they don't appreciate it. Once we start trying to please them, the thrill of the chase is gone. They take it for granted, and it doesn't lead ever to a healthy relationship. It's self-serving for the narcissist, and they love that we serve them, but they love to mess with our minds too. And is that truly love? It's a different kind of love. She had bouts of anger, ghosting me, blocking me, reconnect, then back off. I decided early in the relationship she wasn't worth my time. Yeah, she got you to the point too, though, John, where you were super, super traumatized by it. I remember that, and um, we can get that bad. We can hurt that bad when we care about people. And it, the blocking, the ghosting, the anger, you can tell they're frustrated. It's not a safe spot to be. We want to be there, support them. We try to recognize the things that we do wrong, and they just ghost. Silent treatment, they don't work through their issues. Very rarely do they ever try to fix the relationship. John, did she ever say, hey, we're fighting a little or arguing too much? What can we do to change that? A lot of times too, they just, if it's our fight, they don't want to deal with it. If it's their fight, they'll continue it and continue it. And the insults that they can do, and it is confusing because sometimes some narcissists are very, very complimentary. They're very complimentary. Others will tear you down. There's overt and covert. To remember it, I think of covert, covert, as covered. If you relate that to the word covered, those are the ones you don't really see. It's covered. It's hidden beneath that mask. The overt, I think of like over the top, like it's so obvious. With the outbursts and let me double check that for 1 second, because some people get, okay, so covert means secret or hidden, so it is covered. And I'm glad I was there. Yeah, John says that you helped me through the worst of it. Thank you again for being there for me. I just saw her yesterday and she didn't even say a word. I was talking to another resident and she was hoovering around us. Yeah, they like to see what's going on. They'll listen in. And what is pop out chat? We're going to try that. I'm new at this. Maybe this will highlight it. Oh, I don't. Oh gosh, now it's blocking me. Let's see. I don't know. I don't want that. Now I lost it. So you guys are here. I'll restore chat. Okay, there we go. Maybe it's so I can see it better. But yeah, they'll be their little detectives. They want to know what's going on with you, and um, they'll ignore you. They will ignore you, and that can be hurtful. You think we used to be friends. You say hi. They don't know how to handle it. And somebody else is popping in. Hello to our other viewer. So the love that they have is self-serving. And, absolutely. Good to see you back. uh, it's hard because in that podcast I did today, we talked about Jordan Peterson, and I really like a lot of his insight and the way he looks at things. And he had told Elizabeth Lane, the leader of the podcast, that if you really love the person, you just have to learn how to handle it, how to adjust to it. But there is some truth to that. It depends on the depth of the narcissism. Is it able to be saved? Because some get so frustrated, they have the physical abuse that can lead to severe injury or death. Like, you don't want to deal with that. I've noticed that, I don't know, a lot of them aren't really trustworthy. Yeah, and that's the thing though, like it's more like living as roommates kind of thing. Um, you have to have a different kind of love for them, and that's not what you want. That's us lowering. We deserve a true love. So you know, and it's different. Like for Jordan Peterson, I'm not sure if he was saying about an intimate relationship. So with your parents or whoever, to learn how to be cordial, seeing them at Christmas, like you can deal with certain things and having certain boundaries. But a lot of times it it's not a two-way street. So I know, and it's cyclical. The only thing that's predictable is that it will be unpredictable. So certain relationships you can manage, but in intimate relationship, there's always going to be stuff that's really going to hurt. And the more it hurts you, the more you think about how to fix it, the more SHI. Is there a Dr. Schiller? I think there is. Cynthia Schiller. There was a famous Cynthia Schiller that I just found out about in Wikipedia. And I want to say she was a doctor. I can't remember. But it's not me. Doctored. I try to make it better for you guys that, some of us want our person back and some of us are done with them. We just need to get back to being us. Once we get back to being us, we can kind of analyze the situation a little bit better. If we think about it logically as opposed to emotionally, we'll have a better view on the abuse that we went through, and we'll have better decision making skills, because a lot of us do our actions based on emotions, and you do get tired of the games. And I gave that example of the deer, where he said, oh, it was a bar fight. It zaps you all the time, or it leaves you confused, and that's not the state of comfort that you should live your life in. To where, once you start wondering what things are, people sense things from each other. So now they feel that we're not trusting them. And a lot of times too, that's when you get that blame shifting. Sometimes we don't realize the energy that we're putting off. It is stimulated by the games they play. So now we're confused, and they start feeling something's off. Just to make a point, she put others up to mess with me in terms of having other girls try to mess with me, where I actually had to get housing authority and police involved. So that is a very good point. A lot of times they want revenge, and John, I know you told me your story, and you seem like such a creative, very loving. You made that special video for me on my birthday. A very giving person, a good, true friend. And you know, so, you think it's not only the end of a relationship, okay, that hurts, it sucks, but they go above and beyond to hurt you even more. Why? What's the purpose in it? It's, eh, yeah, they do mess with you and they get other people to join in. And she probably did that, John, because of your community. You live in a complex or a community where people are seeing each other all the time. And she just didn't want her personality uh, being shown to other people. She didn't want to have to take accountability for the destruction of the relationship. Um, you truly loved her. You were there for her. And, they start taking advantage of it, making plans and backing out. So, did she show you in the beginning what made you feel that you guys had a loving relationship? And what was it that you feel was a turning point? Was it when she started not coming over for those, to watch videos with you? Or did she start, uh, I don't know, because you guys had plans a lot of times and she would just blow them off too, not just cancel them, correct? To where a lot of narcissists will do that, to where they'll set up plans. And sometimes we just, kind of want the respect of at least canceling the plans. People like her, John says, have been jealous of my talents. Yeah, John is an amazing inventor. He comes up with some really cool creative things, and they can be jealous. They feel that they're not getting the attention that they need, that they can't match what you are doing as far as talent. It could be a talent in something else. She started coming around a lot at first, then stopped suddenly. Um, yeah. Did she ever? Uh, did you ever really discuss? You did kind of discuss with her when she was discussing with you. Was she concise in her answers or was she vague? A lot of times they'll be vague. They'll confuse you. They'll use word salad. In the podcast I did today, um, we had mentioned how you ask a direct question and they come back with an indirect answer, and you say that I need it directly addressed in this way, and they still and so that's where the connection isn't there. They're not, you can feel that there's some dishonesty. And we have another viewer. Feel free to say hi if you'd like, or go ahead and let me know if you have a certain topic. So somebody um, it's funny how when I say you guys can go ahead and chat, some people get scared and they log out. But very vague. Yeah, John says she was very vague. A lot of times they are. And it just leaves us confused. And in the podcast, they asked, why do they lie about things that they don't even really need to lie about? And I I gave her that example of, when my ex had got that deer, the roadkill. Um, oh, there's Courtney Smith. Good to see you again. Yay. I think you were on with John before. And I'm not sure if Wheeler Nathan was on at the time you were. But yeah, I love seeing some repeat people. So you guys are starting to develop relationships with people all over the world. So John says she told others big lies about me. Yeah, those are those smear campaigns. Now, talking about somebody who did something bad is not a smear campaign if they did it, but it's a smear campaign when it's all about lies and they try to turn people against you. Uh, oh, and John saying hello to everybody. So yeah, we're starting to grow this channel. It's my 1 year anniversary. I'm so proud to have you guys. So Courtney, how was your day? My mom's in the ICU right now, getting ready for a transfer to a regular room. So she's doing a little bit better. And there's White Cat. Good to see you, White Cat. My mom's going to be transferred to a regular room. I was talking to White Cat last night at my mom's house, and the internet cut out. Just the house is so big, too far, and it disconnected on us. So feel free to let me know what topics you would like to talk to about. I'm a little tongue tied. I've been talking on that podcast all day, and she's doing better. She does have COVID, but her lungs, her oxygen saturation is fantastic. She had GI bleed, and all her electrolytes were so far off. Her blood pressure is severely low. So they were working on her. And I know it was only White Cat. We had a nice little one-on-one. You got my special attention. And Courtney, you're so sweet. Yeah. She is doing a little bit better. She'll probably end up going to rehab in a couple, probably at the end of the week, to rebuild her strength. We had to take her by ambulance. She wasn't able to ambulate. But I'm glad everybody seems to be having a good day. And that's what's so nice is once we start the healing process, we start having more and more better days. Because in the beginning, we are so down in the dumps, so confused, so heartbroken. And thank you. Yeah, she's definitely doing better. But and I promise you guys, it's like a wave that will come over you when you start healing. You're gonna feel like I'm over the hill and everything is smooth sailing from here. I mean, you will still have your ups and downs, but you're gonna feel different. It's so weird how much different you will feel. You're gonna feel yourself. And I was thinking too, why does it hurt so bad? Like my father passed away. A man I adore and I love, and you cry. But why with my two narcissists did I scream and wail like I didn't? And I'm just talking scream out in pain. I didn't scream at people, but just this like wailing is the best way to put it, not really screaming. Why was it that intense? And I started diving deeper into it. So as you're in these relationships, to become one, like you guys really do become a part of each other. And it's like we're gone. We're missing ourselves. They took so much from us that half of us is gone. And we don't feel whole. So, if you chop my arm off, I'm not going to just cry. I'm probably going to scream. And I wish I could word it the right way, but they said something about the intensity is similar to the greatest pain that you've ever had. And when I caught on fire, that is the greatest pain. It was so intense. 55% of my body was burnt. That is the most intense pain I've ever felt in my life. And I'm wondering if that's why I scream and wail when at the end of those relationships, because I lost my father. Very close to him. Also, I was kind of lucky that it was a slow death. But and I said for my coping, it was terrible for my father that was like that, but where it's kind of expected. And we were kind of lucky to have extra time with him. And we had our closure at the end, beautiful conversation. I knew he was at peace, so I was at peace. He's a very religious man. And that's the closure. Like I was so blessed to have that closure. And it was a true connection. But when, death or breakups are unexpected, and I wonder if that's why I handled it the way I did. When a loved one passes away, exactly. Thank you, Courtney. Yeah, they didn't choose to leave us. And I remember my dad, he's like, I just want to stay for your mom. And he was teaching some Chinese people English. And he was so dedicated to that. A lot of them are repressed in their religion. They cannot proclaim. If they're Muslim, they can't talk about Christianity. And he wanted to stay for other people. And he did for many years. And the last surgery, he was supposed to have a toe amputated. They ended up doing a shoulder. thing to take away a huge infection that just popped up out of nowhere, and then he was too weak to take that toe. And then he just, it's my time. It's my time to go. And he had a vision of these Post-it notes with all these different sayings on them, and like questions, all these questions. And some you could see clearly, some you could barely make out, and others you just had no clue what it said. And he interpreted it as, he said it was a near-death experience that he went through. He interpreted it as, you're not always going to know the answers. Some you'll know, some you'll kind of know, and some you'll, clearly. And most narcissists come from homes that don't have both parents. You did use a qualifier, most. I haven't done statistics on that. And without doing the research, that's probably quite true. But sometimes too, it's the households where one builds them up and one just, beats them down. So usually if they're opposites type of parents, they'll break up. So I could see that. I know a lot came from, I don't know what the percentage is, but yeah. And I watched this one thing today on, it was confusing. I watched like 7 times. I'm like, wait, what? Because of the way she talked. It was about incarceration, that there's a lot of people who you found that narcissists come from unstable homes or one parent. Yeah, definitely, they're not stable homes. Yes. So in that aspect, you're probably right. That's 90, 100%, that the instability or the loss of the other, like men and women. And I know this whole world is kind of changing with this, but men and women should complement each other. Whatever's missing, we kind of fill the voids with the sternness and the softness. And so you can even just say masculine, feminine energy, but the instability or the one-sidedness is confusing, because you get out in this world and you don't know how to act. So they act in the way that gets them by, and then they act in the way that they need to get their way, because they're scared of being left out. They're scared of being lost in the crowd. And it's interesting to see that, and sad. The kids at school that are perfect, in a sense, it's a hard, over the top, but pretty close to perfect students, that they kind of get lost. Like I try to focus on them, but you're so busy with the troublemakers. For one thing, those are the kids, I know their names. And I need to be more aware of really focusing and remembering the names of the quiet kids. And the narcissist has learned over time, like, people are going to remember me. People are like, I need a name when I'm across the room. Can somebody help me? And so their names are being called out, and it's acknowledgement. And the other ones aren't being acknowledged. We all need to be acknowledged. So it evolves from early childhood that, they just want attention. And the short attention span, the lying, they don't want to take accountability. Like when the kids lie, they also get attention, where you're like, you had the little one-on-one discussion with them. So they're having interaction. It's interesting how they'll kind of snuggle up to me sometimes, not always, but when you're trying to discuss something negative, most kids are the opposite. And when I love what you said, Courtney, how it's like when one loved one passes away, they didn't choose to leave us. That's the difference. We thought they'd be there for us. And that does hurt. And you're right. That might be part of why it hurts so bad, because I was reinforced they would be there for me. And White Cat, feel free to continue on with our discussion from last night if you would like, because we started having a really good conversation. And a father figure is very important. And I'll tell you what, I could not have hoped so selfless. The most amazing father, super intelligent. He uh, kind of was too intelligent with the little things he couldn't understand. Um, and I know for me in teaching art, something that's hard for me, he kept messing up on Friday. I've told you guys about the COVID brain going on, but trying to draw a star, I can draw a star. And when I break it down, it was, we all think in different ways. And I need to just do it. Breaking it down into steps is difficult for me sometimes. I, I don't know why. I don't know. It was just too slow. And the distraction. Sometimes we need to be able to concentrate. The Exo Mantis wearable frame project is working great. Yeah, John is working away on some inventions, which that's a great thing to start doing in the healing process. John's really come a long way. He went from down and out, super severe sadness, confusion, to getting on with his life, finding joy in other things. And the more we focus on us, the further along in life we get. And I see you found that narcissist. Oh, I find it interesting that my ex became toxic like his mother and he's adopted. Was he like his adopted mother or his birth mother? Um, that's what I'm before I answer White Cat. Toxic like his mother and he's adopted. Um, so if it's the adoptive mother, it's not always genetic. Um, they're still studying the genetic component, and I'll wait for your answer on that. But adopted, the home family is a bit off. Okay, so with the adoption, I don't know if he knew he was adopted or not. Um, Sometimes, depending on the child, some want to meet their parents, some never want to meet their parents, some feel abandoned, others understand that there is a certain situation, others are thankful that they have a better life, others are resentful. So he was put into, Herman was put into a whole family that's a bit off. So he's going to pick up some of those traits. You pick up the traits of the 5 people you're most around. Um, so, and then Wheeler Nathan says, my ex narcissist and her parents cheated on each other and put on a pedestal as the youngest. Yeah, sometimes too, they see the things, they learn the traits, they learn what didn't work, how to avoid those things. And White Cat continues on saying he found out when we went to the courthouse for some other reason. Oh, so he didn't know till he was an adult. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, sometimes that's a big whammy. um yeah, it it can be devastating and make you question your whole existence. Like, I've been calling you dad, mom, whatever, and um, sometimes they want to search things out. Why was it, why me type thing, the poor pity me thing. And yeah, the surroundings, and then on top of it. So sometimes this is a thing, like during the podcast I did today, you know, she had asked me, why, uh, can they when they lie, sometimes they lie because they want to be nice. And this is where it gets confusing. Like sometimes people withhold things because they don't want to hurt the person. So a lie can be an omission by not telling somebody something, or it can be a direct lie. So a narcissist, um, might not want to tell the child that they were adopted. Sometimes they might think that it's to protect the child, but it could also be that the adoptive parent wants to be the focus, where it's mine, 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 mine. But some of their lies, um, you know, uh, for example, like if we had plans and they wanted to do something else, they're not going to say, I don't want to see you today, because that might hurt our feelings. So they make up, I'm sick, somebody passed away, because they're trying to be nice, but they're not being truthful. And they usually get found out, and then it breaks down the trust. So you said, yes, I heard he found a brother of his. I hear bits and pieces because my ex mother in law was working where I work. Okay, so uh, very interesting. So he might have some resentment too of missing out on that brother. Especially if the brother turned out pretty good, would have been a good sibling to be around. Yeah, that's going to make you question reality. Um, Interesting. Do you know how he reacted with? Did he feel loved from his adopted family members? I know some people really struggle with that. I know a friend of mine did that genetic family tree type stuff, and it starts linking. You start seeing all the different links, and she's really into it. So she's really putting two and two together. And she found out that her aunt had this extra child, um, and that she never knew about, and genetically connected. And the lost love, it was kind of weird how it all fell together, and they reunited. I don't even know how old he is, but pretty up in age. So sometimes people, give their child up out of love. They're like, I know I can't take care of it. And that can be very loving. And others just don't want the child. So when we're thinking about our narcissist, you, you can't really just think about the action. So you can relate it to, giving up a child. We see that action. And a lot of us will put our emotion, like that's what that felt. But if you're empathetic, you can see it can go both ways. So that's why, we got to think of not only the action, because they always say, did they love you? Think about, what did they do? What were their actions? And to me, the reasoning is very important to me. So that's the best way I can do it. Is so many YouTubers talk about what did they do? What were their actions? What did their actions say? And if you relate it to the, giving a baby up, you that's an unfair analogy. What were their actions? They gave the baby up. That doesn't go deep into the meaning, because the meaning, if it was in a loving way, is different than it was in a dismissive way. So they have that weird, White Cat says they had that weird relationship with the mother, acts like he's her husband. Yes. Uh, and did she do that being married to the father figure? Because, yeah, there are times that, uh, and you got to be careful that they don't cross over into sexual abuse, but sometimes they can be where they're not having sex, but yeah, just the extra support, just the interaction. She wants the protector, all that kind of stuff. There is something about that where uh, the mother son thing, is that the Oedipus? No, that's when the child. unless he has, where he connects with her as the wife, even though it's his mother. I believe that's the Oedipus. Uh, to everyone listening, you see how they are, and you dodged a bullet. If they keep you, they will cheat or discard or both. Everyone is on a time clock. And uh, so Nathan says that. Yeah, he's our little police officer who kind of helps protect us. A lot of good advice from him. And Courtney says, yeah, that's not good. It's definitely not healthy. Um, to where it is odd if you've ever seen it. It's odd. It's kind of sickening in a way. It's unfair to the child. The child is taking care of the mother. Uh, no father figure since he was 2. Okay, that's why. Yeah, because I was like, I don't think she's doing that if the man's in the house. So she relied on him and put a lot of pressure on him. And he was a child. He wasn't ready for that. And oh, I know you're very relaxed. I am too. I took you guys out of the classroom. I didn't see one thank you for that. So I got a little bit better background. And oh, of course she hated you. You were the competition. Yeah, because you were taking her man from her. And uh, they expect stuff they shouldn't expect. They also will get into more inappropriate conversations with them too. That it's not a mother son relationship, it is a different dynamic. Uh, and that's with, um, as we try to understand, like, where does this come from? All these mental illnesses and all these skewed kind of relationships is we react to things and we need things based on our mental stability. So, in that podcast I did today, I will share that with you guys as soon as I have access to it because it was very interesting. Um, we like to fix things. We like things to go smoothly. We like to keep it on track. So that's part of why we have to be cautious in the future that we um, aren't always trying to fix people. Uh, and, we don't really realize it in the beginning because we don't need to fix things that aren't broken. So we don't see that we're drawn to that. But something somewhere must clue us in that we can't even really see, that we don't recognize, and we latch on to these people. And you don't really see things that are needing to be fixed unless it's right in front of your face, and it doesn't happen till later. So the back and forth with these relationships, that podcast today, she was telling me about the people she has been with, and they're so quick to abandon us. That's why I did in a different video, like, do I really, and you guys feel free to chat away, I'll respond to you. But I started like, do I have abandonment issues? You start thinking, and you're like, but during the relationship I didn't, but they did abandon me. So is that an abandonment issue? You know what I mean? I don't know. Um, but yeah, with the second one, I started kind of freaking out. But it was like the silent treatment. Like, if you just have some good communication, I don't have an abandonment issue, but they did abandon me, so I have an issue with that. Um, I feel like I was a whole different person. I had very poor intuition, like I was living under a rock. Excellent thing is uh, our intuition changes. We start trusting more than we should. It's weird. Like you said, I feel like it was a whole different person. Yeah, and that's in that devaluation stage. Um, we feel so different. We're trying to get back to feeling like us. It's I I don't even know how to put it in words how different we feel. It's because of the different chemicals in our brain, the confusion, the brain fog, trying to figure out that word salad. It kind of makes you feel stupid in a sense, where you're like, how am I not understanding this, or am I remembering this correctly? That's where we start lowering our self-esteem. We stop saying, no, I believe this to be true, because it happens so often. We start feeling like, do I have Alzheimer's, dementia? Because I'm 52, and over time, you're like, is is it my turn to start going downhill? And I'm very intelligent, but when you go through stress, anxiety, all that kind of stuff starts messing with your mind, making it harder to remember things. So we already have our natural stress, anxiety, uh, difficulties with remembering things, and then on top of it, we have the brain fog to decipher what the word salads that they're saying. That we're like, I was intelligent in the beginning of this. What's going on with me? And um, you know, sometimes too, you get into that depression, walking on eggshells. I started with mine, the way that we start talking. And I had told him, I'm like, it's even affecting the way I speak. So I'm still healing from that. I am working on my speech, because with him, you had to do it in this crazy order that's not natural to me. And I'm trying to get back to myself, because I'm usually a good presenter, but I'm tongue tied a lot because of the way I had to talk to him. You have to uh, make sure that you have his attention, make sure that you comfort him. You talk about it in the right way. You try to troubleshoot, and uh, you can't just say, I want to talk to you about, he, let's just say this is a topic. Cheating is always the easiest one to go to. Not that it was an issue, but where you're like, I'd like to talk to you about the cheating. So can we sit down tonight and talk about it? So if you said that, they shut down. And sometimes too, you even just want to talk to them. But unless you captivate them and make them comfortable, like, you can't just say, hey, can we talk about the cheating? Like, I'm just trying to understand, or I want to work through it. Or some of you, that's deal breakers. You just say, screw it. Some people don't want to work through it. But whatever the topic is, and I just said cheating is easy. It could be, finances or whatever. But you don't want them to feel attacked. And it's so hard, the way we really do love them. Uh, and our intuition, yeah. We we miss a lot of things. We miss the red flags. You work 3 to 11 at night and was taking care of his daughter on top of that from when she was 10 to 17. So I was kept very busy. And um, so that's the other thing too, is narcissists like to stay busy because it helps with their brain. But also when we're busy, when we're kept busy, taking on the responsibilities of the house and also working and whatever it is that we're doing, we're missing the red flags during that time. When we reflect, we can see it more clearly. But as you go through things, um, it it passes by you, or it uh, isn't quite seen, because sometimes too we're in the quickness, like, I got to get the daughter ready for school, and I got to get this, and a certain argument or certain cut down, we miss. We're like, okay. But there's so many different types of narcissists and different ways that narcissists are created. And I really enjoyed that podcast because we were getting into it. And I hope to talk to her again soon, because as we share our stories, that's why I love that you guys share your stories, because we can kind of dive into it. Because a lot of us are going to move on. And We have to be whole in ourselves that we don't bring down the relationship. It's changed us. We might have trust issues. That lady that I was talking to in the podcast, both her and I, it's affected how we move on. Are we going to trust somebody again? And we're going to be sensitive to certain things, and we have to be aware of that. But narcissists, sometimes it's like, do we feel sorry for them? Uh, you know, you can, I guess, in a sense, you can feel sorry for what they went through, but that doesn't mean that they get a free ride to abuse you. You can just like I'm a burn victim, like you can feel sorry that happened to me, but does that give me a reason to be bad to you now? No. We all go through things, and we can feel sorry for what somebody went through. We can understand it and allow the person maybe to talk about it. That was another thing too, though, is narcissists, they don't really want to hear what we have to say. And it gets confusing because sometimes it seems like they do want to hear what they want to say, but when they want to hear what we have to say, it's usually for self-serving purposes. Either it's us stroking their ego or to get information. But the lack of connection and, you know, how, how do you how do you love someone that you're so quick to shut out? Did our narcissist love us? They didn't treat us really nice. There's that, is our person a narcissist with NPD, or are they just a jerk? A lot of times you'll hear it's the asshole disease or something like that, where uh, is a person just a liar? Is a person just selfish? But the lack of empathy and the extremes that they will go through to try to destroy your life. Like, I don't understand that kind of love. There are selfish people. I get it. Um, Narcissists are a whole new breed, and we're, as a society, encouraging it. And I really enjoyed that lady I talked to today. She was over in Europe, and culturally, things are different. And White Cat says, I love the person that never existed. That's the hardest part to get over. Yeah, deep love. I know. Because I've had some where, you know, where they're like, you didn't really love, you don't really still love them. And, you know, um, I, you know, I, I have to think about it now, but, I probably still would, donate a kidney. I don't want that person to die. And if that's not an act of love, I wouldn't just do that unless it, because, I have a daughter, and, you never know who's going to need a kidney. But, because it's like easy to say that you still love someone. But yeah, I think we really did love that person. And how you say that they never existed, because we fell in love with a trustworthy person, a faithful person, a compassionate person, somebody who had our best interest at heart. That's who we fell in love with. And then the bonus is we got to spend time with them. We got to do activities with them, but we fell in love with the facade, or something that couldn't be sustained, and it changed them back into who they were. So, you know, uh, that's devastating. We felt we were with a perfect match. And as time went by, maybe they gained weight, or they lost hair, or grew hair. Um, and we would have still accepted it. If mine became a quadriplegic, I'd still be there for them. Um, there's some amazing stories out there. of true, true love. And then we think about how they did us so wrong that it's mind blowing. And why would somebody want to give up something that was that good? Because it was fun, it was intense, it was, usually sexually compatible, um, and it was just everything. Like great conversations and adventures, and then just all gone when it could have been saved. But things can only be saved without resentment if there's empathy. Because somebody could have a spouse that becomes a quadriplegic, but without the empathy, they're going to see it as a hassle. It's just a different view on things. You need that empathy to go, if I was paralyzed or quadriplegic, I would really want somebody to take care of me. I know some people just don't want to be a burden to others too. But live life, people. Courtney says, absolutely, I would have stayed with mine no matter what. I always told them that. And I know, makes you want to cry, no matter what. And this is the thing, though. This is what messes us up, guys, is like if you take Courtney's statement and the way that I've said, I have unconditional love. That's what screws us up. And this is what I mean by it. We overlook the abuse. So when we have unconditional love, we still have boundaries. We have to remember the boundaries. You don't have to be with somebody to love them. So if you walk away, you can still love them. But so you're still this unconditional love. But without the boundaries, they walk all over us. We start becoming targets. And they start using us more and more because it's easy. So we have to kind of guide our new relationships where we're not victims anymore, that we have limits. Because without saying limits, people are just going to come to us when they want something. So if we don't set a boundary on how much money we can give them, they're just going to come and come and come and come. And then they're just going to get used to it. And then they're going to feel entitled to it because we always gave it to them. Then they're going to get angry if we don't, or they're going to take advantage of it and not pay us back. So, yeah, sometimes too, we're like, are you happier? Are we happier with them or without them? But that's where our self-esteem comes in too, is like, do we deserve to be treated like that? And mine, there was abuse, but the abuse usually doesn't come until the discard. Well, let me reword that, because some of you are in those relationships that constantly go. But the monster part, there will be abuse. Mine were not the vulnerable narcissists. Those, I feel, are the ones that are the aggressive, physical aggressors. And the grandiose can flip into a vulnerable. They can flip-flop, depends on the narcissistic injury that they go through. I really don't want to carry this forever. My mom and dad got divorced in 1982, and he still talks about it. He's 87. So you're saying you don't want to be like your dad, that he's still kind of harboring pain, that you want to let it go, White Cat? And Wheeler Nathan, thank you for the happy anniversary. Yes, 1 year today on YouTube. And that's the thing. We have to let it go. Just like holding on to a balloon, just like those beautiful birthday or balloons. That's an action to let go of something. It's an action. So we have to let go. And he's still super mad. Yeah, White Cat's father. Um, yeah, I'm still super mad too. But as we let go more, um, we heal more. But like I said, it's an action to let go. It doesn't just happen. So, yeah, divorced in 1982. It's 2022. So that's 40 years later. Is that right? Is my math good? 40 years later, still talks about it. And sometimes, too, you know, you don't want a lifelong injury. I have to let it go. And that's hard to do because it's an actual action. It's easier to hold on, like to hold on to a grudge or hold on to the pain than to let go. Um, People get hurt. Yeah, it can be a lifelong pain. And that's where we have to overcompensate to get back on track. Fill yourselves with some things that are really happy making, and reconnect with things you like to do. Find some friends. And saw yesterday too that I'm doing a lot of research on how having no friends can be as deadly as being a smoker. And loneliness can lead to depression. All these different things that we go through can play havoc on our bodies, our brains, our minds, and how we react to that. It's probably going to change our food choices. We're either going to, eat too much or eat the not the right nutrients. And, with my mom being in the ICU and stuff, you see how every little, magnesium and potassium, all the things that they were checking for, and how weak somebody can get. You get those nutrients back, you start feeling better. So we got to eat as healthy as we can. It's okay to splurge, but take care of your body because, you know, things snowball. So try to get that snowball going in the right direction. And we have to take charge of that. So it's the narcissist, you know, do they hate us? Uh, I wouldn't say hate's such a powerful word. Uh, you just got a 1974 Beetle that I'm going to restore this winter. That's going to be a good project. So it's ready for summer. I set 10 goals for myself this year, and I'm happy to say I achieved them all. That is amazing. They, it's good to set goals. This is the weirdest thing that when you set goals, they tell you not to tell people. So how people are like, what are your New Year's resolution? That people, for some reason, when they declare their their goal, a lot of times they don't achieve it. Is that weird? So Courtney, that is fantastic. So why are people like they are? A lot of times too is it's subconscious. Sometimes when people say what they're going to do, they feel like a pressure. Yeah, White Cat is tuning in too, saying, "Wow, Courtney, that's awesome." 1974 Beetle. That's gonna be so cool. What color? What color are you gonna make it? Um, you're welcome. Yeah. So White Cat Courtney says, "Thank you." And mine, baby blue. Oh, how neat. Slug bug. you're, you're the reason for domestic violence, slug bug. Just teasing. Wow, you don't see that many anymore. And do they still, I don't even know, do they still even make them? I don't think so. And when was that? Because I was born in 1970. So when I grew up, I saw a lot more. And White Cat says, I love to see people winning. And you have the right take on how to be positive instead of looking at the negative, like, being jealous that she gets this and, or tearing it apart, uh, you know, trying to get to her self-esteem. Yeah, just build people up. And that's when people achieve their greatest potential. And if we could encourage everybody to reach their full potential, this world would be such a different place, so much more peaceful. And the lady I talked to in my podcast, she was saying how different she's over in Europe and talking about the Americans and how different we are. We have one of the highest narcissism. Uh, there are some other countries that have very high narcissism, but we just had this entitlement and so much manipulation going on, a lot of manipulation. There's red flags that are overlooked. The power. Yeah. We even, even just some of our job descriptions, to where people are like, that's not in my job description. And so even if they have tons of time, they won't help you. So now we're not helping each other. We're just and I get it. Like there should be some guidelines, but to where people are like, nope, I can't. It's not my job description. And then there's also different laws, but it's not a society of helping people, connecting people. People are, many are lazy. Uh, they have, and I don't like using the word Karen, but that's like a whole thing. And one thing I want to point out, I wanted to do it last night, White Cat. I don't think I did because we got cut off. There was one lady. Be really careful with some of the people that you see on YouTube, because when people come from a side of pain, their advice is going to be a little bit skewed or not quite right. And this one lady had posted a YouTube. She's been doing a lot where, her husband's a narcissist and he ended up coming out as gay. And so it seems like she's still with him. So I've watched her quite a bit, and sometimes too I'm like I get what he's doing, but your whammy, your argument is kind of like, is it all him? So she had said, as an example video, it's not necessarily about her husband, but she had painted this picture of this lady, all all dolled up, and the way she described it was like just making this grand entrance and flapping, just surprise into a group of friends that were sitting around, and she's like, "How do I look?" And one person's and she had also painted the picture that it was inappropriate that she was wearing something that a 21-year-old would wear, and she was, I think, 51, I don't know, somewhere in the upper ages. So she's painting this picture that she's dressing like a early 20s hottie, and she's older. And the way she was saying, it was like, I think she was trying to paint the picture of this attention-seeking person that is grandiose and has to interrupt the conversation and displays herself. So she did ask, "What do you think?" And the friend is like, from what the video is kind of trashy, don't you think? And it was confusing to me. Like, who are you trying to say is the narcissist? Because narcissists do love attention. But the way that lady said her response, she used the word trashy. She judged her on her clothing because of her age. Um, and she put it back on her like, don't you think you're, you know, um, it, don't you think it's trashy? Like cutting down her self esteem. She just showed off. She did ask, but we can respond to people in a kinder way. So that one, I'm still trying to figure out like who she's trying to say is a narcissist because, you know, clothes don't make the person. When we're excited about something, she was around friends, and I don't quite know. Like, I don't know. I just don't like the way that she was trying to portray it because we can, like, you know, I don't know. I think she was trying to say the lady on the stairs making the entrance was a narcissist, but the one that responded, it was like, it's a hurtful way to respond. You can be honest with people. You can definitely be honest. And she should have done something like, if you're comfortable with it, and I don't think I'd be comfortable in that outfit. And that's a healthy way to say it as opposed to cutting her down, um, telling her she should think it's trashy when she might not. But you can say, are you comfortable wearing that? Is that what you feel is appropriate? Um, so be careful on that kind of stuff because that makes a difference how we talk to people. And then she's like, and then the lady stormed back up the stairs. Well, people sometimes too get hurt, and would you want to stay hanging out? So narcissists do throw temper tantrums, but there are times that maybe people just aren't kind. So you're surprised she stayed with him. This is White Cat. Once you go, unless you can't, of course. Um, people people stay for a variety of reasons, just like you said, unless you can't leave. Um, you know, uh, there are, domestic violence shelters, and there is help out there. There are resources, but some people are just scared to leave. The unknown can be really scary. Sometimes too, you feel like you invested so much. The low self-esteem and like, will I ever find someone? Or realizing the statistics can be scary. Like I said, I'm 52, and you know, there's a lot of people already paired up. The selection process, and uh, sometimes people, um, like if there's another 52-year-old who wants to have a baby, uh, you know, is going to pick a younger woman. So our fishing pond where we can get our little fish, the fish in the sea, is kind of not the same. It's kind of picked over, but you just gotta wait because somebody will be with a narcissist and they'll get discarded. uh, so what do you guys got going on? What are some things that are helping you through this, or are there certain things that stood out to you that you're like, was that love or was that hate? Um, but Courtney, I love that you're doing that, and John's doing some projects. I'm really trying to do the best I can do. This is the first year I'm teaching art. Last 2 years I've been teaching online, where I just teach all these different subjects, whatever I want, I can teach, like why we should shower, body language, tone of voice, all these different dinosaurs. I have sewing, sign language. So I'm back in the classroom. Took a little break. Before that, I was doing gym. So White Cat, you definitely have to be ready and able to break the trauma bond, but they'll leave you anyways. Yeah. That trauma bond gets you so messed up. Man, I struggled with that. I had like shocks going through my body. I still don't feel 100% right, I can wake up. Today's a great day. Um, yeah, you just get. Um, I've had the waves, but it's almost like I don't even know how to describe it. Just off. That's from me being in that high state of are you alive or dead? That was so extreme, so intense, like for months, and just the not knowing, because his last words were to me were, "Of course I'll be there for you. Why wouldn't I?" And I had no way to find out. I wanted so bad to uh, drive states away, but by the time I got there, and I wouldn't have even known. It's just crazy. Yeah, there's good days and bad days. Yeah, and it'll start to transition. Be careful with seasonal depression. We are going into the winter. I believe if you're Australian, you should be good at this time. But the northern hemisphere, um, some people do suffer. So uh, have those lights on. There are certain light bulbs, I believe, that can kind of help. Tanning. They do have the skin cancer stuff, so be careful on that. But sometimes, going out, seeing some sun. I live in Michigan. What is it? We have like 43 days of sun, and what is it? 292 down in Florida. So seasonal depression does affect some people. So um, do some things that feel good. Even look at some sunny pictures. But there's like some vitamin D that we get from the sun. So just make sure you got your vitamins, all that good stuff. Oh, I can't wait. You're going to have to send me a picture, Courtney, of this 1974 Beetle. What kind of restoration are you doing on it? Because body work or the paint job or engine overhaul. I know John, if you're still here, John does a lot of inventions. He could probably you could probably make some movable arms on your car or something. I don't know. He's very creative on that stuff. It's amazing on some of the conversions that people do, how they take such a tiny space and uh, have like a whole living area or different little compartments, and technology and creativity is really fascinating. And that's why I say it's really sad. Like if people would just get along and help each other, like the amazing things that could happen. And we just don't work together. Everybody wants to, even just with that COVID vaccine, everybody was more concerned about getting the patent than working together. And, uh, you know, everybody has their secret sauce. And I get it. Like you put the hard work in, but if we somehow changed the way society works, things would be kind of nice, But people are territorial. So I know it's like they loved us, and this is why it's so hard to say they loved us, because the only way to say it is they loved us while it served their purpose. So yeah, just like a car, how we're all like, I love my car, check it out, I love it. And we hate it when it breaks down. We hate it when it's got a rip in the seat and we're embarrassed that our friends see our messy car or torn up interior. We hate it. Changes how we feel. We feel embarrassed now. Um, and that's what the narcissist feels about a person. Just scrap it. Just scrap it. Get a new one. And that's the best way to describe the type of love. So it can be that intense. Yes, I got a new car. super happy. And as time goes by, they see little flaws in the relationship and it irritates them. And, you know, that's a person that usually, since they look at the negative, it destroys the structure. And they don't take the time to repair it. So when you don't take the time to repair, like Courtney, I'm sure you can tell me, if you don't repair the car, it's going to get worse. When things are out of whack, they start destroying more and more. And we tend to look at the positive until it gets negative that we can't take it. Oh, so Courtney is doing the paint and also all new chrome. That's going to be pretty for the trim. Also some new bumpers. Oh, I'm so excited. I love car restoration, especially the older cars and slug bugs. Those are always really cool. Those are ours. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Those used to be a really, really big thing. So, well, it's 9:15, and I think I'm going to get ready for bed because it was a really stressful weekend with my mom in the ICU. But I wanted to say that I'm so glad you guys joined in, and I hope to see you soon. Feel free to contact me. And as always, topic requests are welcome. And thank you for celebrating my 1 year with YouTube. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. Bye, guys.